What we'll talk about, let's just jump straight into business. I want to start not from what Microsoft published yesterday, but from what Microsoft said recently during the Microsoft Inspire. They announced the price of Microsoft CoPilot, Microsoft 365 CoPilot, to be $30 per user per month. And this is a massive investment. And it's going to affect everybody who's on current Microsoft 365 plans, something like this, like in this slide. So the percentage of the increase of your Microsoft budgets, and Office right now is 80% of all the Microsoft budgets, so the overall Microsoft budgets. So costs for Office, if you adopt it for every user, CoPilot, if you adopt CoPilot for every user, will go drastically up. So you need to know this is going to affect your future negotiations. Rest assured, Microsoft will push that into every client, but you may want to also deploy it to everybody. This is your budget increase. I'm talking about desktop budget, but this is your desktop budget increase. So assess it carefully. And what we recommend is, unless you want to capitalize on this, because I mean, you may be a huge company, so you're an international company with 100,000 seats, and your investment is going to be what's it going to be, 3 million? You can easily convert it into capitalization of the company. We are implementing AI, but that's a completely different matter. Small, mid-sized businesses, I would go very carefully. Secure 1 to 5 licenses in your next year renewal. That will fix the cost, the price, for 3 years, and then you can additionally buy additional subscriptions as you just deploy it and learn how to use it, because essentially your return on investment depends on how you use it. An average employee in a Western business on a salary of $50,000 or £50,000, if they only use CoPilot to save 1 hour a month, that gives you full one-to-one return on investment. So it's not a massive investment from that point of view. But then again, imagine the shock, the CFO and procurement shock when they see the bill of materials where the prices have gone up by this percentage. Moving on. If you want to discuss this, by the way, if you want to discuss it further, firstly, we have an article on our website, SAMexpert.com, that goes deeply into considerations around this. If you want to discuss it now during this live, please ask your questions in the chat. The second big update from today, not from today, from yesterday, is Microsoft 365 applications, so-called Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise and apps for business. What are they? They are essentially Microsoft Office applications that you get through certain Microsoft 365 subscriptions. So those Microsoft 365 apps are allowed from yesterday to be run in Amazon Workspaces. Please pay attention. No other cloud provider, not EC2, nothing else, just Amazon Workspaces, a very specific product. You may install one, what they call as an active license of Office apps, pay licensed user who must be licensed with E3, E5, or Business Premium. In addition to that, and please pay very, very close attention to this, in addition to that, if those users are also, this is the keyword, licensed with Project Plan 3 and 5 and Visio Plan 2, you may also install 1 copy per user into Amazon Workspaces of those applications, only for those licensed users. Where's the catch? The catch is they must be licensed at the same time with an eligible M365 package and Project Visio Online. If they only license with Project Visio Online, or say they have an F365 F3 package, they are not eligible for this particular offering. It's very restricted. Yes, it's going to work for large enterprises. Otherwise, it's restricted. If you are fiddling, if you are optimizing, micromanaging your licenses, please pay close attention to this. There's also a technical limitation, and this is a compliance thing. So now ITAM people will have to deal with this and potentially face questions during audits. You're only allowed to use current branches. It's Enterprise Monthly and current branch. That's the branches that you get support for from Microsoft. Only supported branches, nothing else. So no early adopter, no development branches. I don't remember the exact names, so please bear with me. We don't deploy Office, we consult on how to use it. Is that a positive change? Yes, because, well, this is the first win for a listed provider. I remind you, listed providers are Amazon, Google, and Alibaba, and Microsoft also lists themselves, but trust me, they left back doors for themselves. This is the first time when a listed provider is allowed to deploy Microsoft 365 for their end clients. I mean, their end clients are allowed to deploy it on their platform. This is how it works. I am wondering why not any other providers. I am wondering why not any other Amazon services. The interesting thing about it is that if you watch this channel or read our blog or follow me on LinkedIn, by the way, if you don't follow me on LinkedIn, please find me on LinkedIn and follow Alexander Golev, easy to find. Microsoft made a few massive changes. Let me rephrase this. A few changes, because only the first one was massive, into bring your own license starting October last year. And the first change was they brought in flexible virtualization benefit, which allows you to take any Microsoft license on subscription or SA, deploy it on any provider, except for Amazon, Alibaba, Google, and to some extent Microsoft as well. That was big. In April, because they were still, and this is the core reason why this is happening, they were still under pressure from the EU, from the lobbying groups in the European Union. One of them is CISPE.cloud. That's the website. That lobby in the EU structures against Microsoft's what they call, so don't put it on me, unfair Microsoft licensing practices. And I believe you can read the public documents. I believe if you look at what CSP publishes, you can draw lines easily between what's going on in the Microsoft licensing and what CSP is asking for. So in April this year, Microsoft said, fine, a very limited club of CSP hosters, which is really like a very low number of providers worldwide. It's not massive. You have to be certified to become a CSP hoster, were allowed to license Windows Server differently to all the other providers when it's sold through a CSP and when it's sold by them. So I don't want to go very deep into those details again, unless you want to know more and ask me in the chat. What you need to understand is that compared to the October update, this is just tiny. Basically, CSP hosters that provide license-included services, that include CSP licenses with their hosted Windows servers, can use Windows Server standard licenses to assign them to Windows Server data center machines, and client access licenses are not required. So very much like Azure hybrid use benefit, but it's not, because Azure hybrid use benefit is bring your own license. License included on CSP is not bring your own license. It's a total mess. A positive update affecting 1%, less than 1% of all the users. Now this, again, drip feeding changes. Drip feeding. But the pressure is continuing. So watch this space. Bring your own license for Microsoft will get better and better and better. And somebody said today that, oh, Microsoft is going to suffer because they have all these antitrust cases. Knowing Microsoft and their ability to recover from any situation, trust me, they will not only not suffer from this, they will come out victorious. They will find a way to monetize this or PR it or do something else, which will, again, increase their revenue by another 30%. Mark my words. So, to summarize, If you use Amazon Workspaces and you always wanted to deploy Microsoft 365 apps there, go for it. The other thing that will affect Dynamics 365, pay attention to it. If you used to combine licenses to meet the minimums, those who don't know, if you don't know, don't bother about it. Those who don't know, you used to be able to combine various types of licenses to meet specific minimum licensing requirements. Not anymore. So you must meet the minimums with one type of a license. You can't mix them anymore. Again, those who don't know, I've spoken to Dynamics partners, and it's not a good news. The other news, which is, I would say it is interesting. Office 365 F plans were removed from enterprise agreement availability. So if you have an EA, you can't buy Office, say F3 anymore. You can still buy Microsoft 365 F3. Don't confuse those two. Office 365 F3 is a very, very old plan, all those F plans. And if you look at what's included in Office F plans and Microsoft 365 F plans, there's not that much difference. There is a little pricing difference. Sorry, I wasn't prepared to show them today, the differences between the pricing on those two products, but they're minimal. But again, the companies that micromanage their Office licenses in order to save and negotiate better discounts and just pay for what they use, they must be aware that they cannot carry over Office F3, Office 365 F3, or just any F subscriptions into the next enterprise agreement renewal. Be prepared for it. If you want to keep it, you can buy it through CSP, but you won't get the same programmatic discounts as you get through Microsoft Enterprise agreements. So no level D for Office. So it's only available in the CSP, or as the other name for it is Microsoft Customer Agreement Route. There we go. So these are the, I think, the most important updates in the last month. There are obviously others, many, but they're minimal. Renaming of products, for example, as your AD was renamed to Entra ID and immediately hacked. Sorry, just I can't hold it. Somebody entered into Entra ID. Hi, it's good to see you. Good to see you too. Can you share a little on dual usage rights of Windows Server Data Center, cloud and on-premise? Microsoft in April changed the wording. They changed it. And it triggered certain people. And I understand them, because the way it changed, they changed it, it's not clear. It used to be clearer. But we had these discussions amongst trainers, consultants, Microsoft licensing experts, and everybody agrees that although they changed the wording, you may still dual use Windows Server Data Center licenses as you could do it before. Rich Gibbons today found, together with our friend Carl, who often comes to this channel, he's not here today, he found an interesting I would say they have come up with an interesting interpretation of those new updated rules. It seems like dual use rights is only given to you forever, no time limit, but only when you migrate workloads to Azure. I don't see it that way. So my opinion there is you may still continue using them as is. I don't believe it's even auditable. It's even possible to see whether that was migration. And then when you migrate to Azure, why would you keep it running on premises? Kind of nonsensical. So our advice is, obviously, check it with Microsoft if you are overly cautious. If you believe that it must be explicitly and expressly granted to every single dot and comma and period and whatever other punctuation sign. In that case, like many of my German friends do, treat it as you have no dual use rights. But again, our advice, our opinion, which you can take to court, is dual use rights are still there as they were, which is if you have Windows Server data center licenses on a subscription or with software assurance, you may at the same time continue using them on premises assigned to hosts or virtual machines, by the way, if you own a license per VM. But why would you do so? And at the same time, without additional cost, assign them to Azure virtual machine instances, following all the rules of AHAB. That is our expert opinion. It's still present. I will take a few more questions if you have any. I want to go back very quickly on the topic when you're coming up with questions. If you have any questions, I want to go back very quickly to the subject of CoPilot. I would like to know, and I would appreciate it if you put it in the comments. What's your opinion about the new price of the announced price of CoPilot? And please bear in mind, it's not yet the final price. The product is not yet released. It's a preliminary announcement. By the way, Microsoft can change that price, listening to your feedback. How do you plan to use it? Do you have interesting use cases in your mind that you certainly want to try it? Because I do. I want to try it with Excel. I want to try it with Word, writing proposals, analyzing data. I've got some prompt ideas for data analysis in our industry, in cloud, FinOps, and software asset management. But I want to know how you plan to use it. And the other question, again, to reiterate, what do you think about the price? Is it too high? Is it reasonable? Or actually, if you think it's too low, because in my opinion, Microsoft could have gone with even a higher price and still win. We'll see. We had an interesting story with the pricing of Power Apps last year. Mid-year 2022, Microsoft realized that they've run out of early adopters and nobody else is buying this product. And that product was a scorecard item, which means Microsoft sales representatives get bonuses for selling scorecard items. They reduced the price to half. Imagine you're on an enterprise agreement and your price is fixed. You can't go down. So all the new clients paid half of what the previous early adopters paid for it. It can happen to CoPilot as well. It could be $30 at the rollout and then $15 after a year. Or not. Or it can go up. I'd like to know your opinion. And I'll see you, in one of the upcoming videos on SAMexpert TV. Cheers.